Welcome to our farm here in Ndeiya, Limuru. My name is Sylvia Kuria and I'm an organic farmer. Many people normally ask me, Sylvia, how did you start? Is it possible? How can you become an organic farmer? And what I always tell everybody is start small. I didn't start on this land. I started on a very small piece of land, about half an acre, and I just learned how to do it by growing, my own family food. One day I just sat down and I said, I'm not going to go to the market again. I'm going to grow everything that my family requires. With time, I had more than enough, and I started a scheme where I sell vegetables in baskets. Something else I want to bring out. When you talk about organic agriculture, it's not just about the, growing safe food. People normally ask me, how do you do that? Is it just growing seafood? It's many things. Number one, the most important thing you have to think about is the soil. This soil is the soil that you need to grow you enough food, not just today, but for many generations to come. I did organic agriculture because I want to be able to have such good soils that are so good in nutrients that my children and my children's children will still be farming on this piece of land. They will not move away. They'll still be on this piece of land growing food much more than I'm doing today because I have worked on the soil. How did I do that? There are different things we normally do. We normally do something called cover cropping. So we normally make sure that all the parts of the land are covered by a cover crop. We are either growing food to eat and sell, but the areas where we are not going to grow any food for eating and selling, we normally plant crops that are rich in fixing nitrogen into the soil. These are mainly the legumes, things that we normally have. Talk about the cowpeas, the pigeon peas, the ndengus, the beans, fenugreek. All those normally fix a lot of nitrogen into the soil. And I do that because I want to be able to renew my soil all the time. And, it's a form of manure in a way. They call it green manure. Because if I don't have enough animals, then what I do, when the leaves have come up of my beans, I just dig them back into the soil and I grow whatever else I'm growing. And I've just dug in back a lot of manure. Another point that is very important is to grow trees. We cannot be able to grow food if we don't have the support of trees. We have a lot of trees here. Many of them are young. But on this farm, it's about 5 acres, we've grown more than 500 trees. And how we have done it is by choosing trees that are going to support us. We have trees that fix nitrogen into the soil. The trees give us shade when it's hot, and the crops that grow under will do quite okay. And then we also grow trees that will also give us fodder for our animals when it's dry. So those are the caliandras and lucanas, they're very good for the goats. And then something else, we also grow trees that will give us fruit. It takes time, but you have to start somewhere. So the trees are normally part of the whole ecosystem in an organic farm to actually make sure that the farm is doing well and is successful. Something else we do is that we have a few animals. So we have a few goats and we have a few chicken. And when you think about it, I don't have many, but the few animals I have are actually helping to put back the nutrients into the soil. And how do I do that? We normally take the manure from the goats and the chicken, from their pens where they sleep, and I mix them with my kitchen waste. Even when I sell my vegetables, I find that I have a lot of waste on the farm. The leaves of the cabbage, the broccoli leaves, So we have a lot of green waste. We mix it with the manure, and every time we are planting new vegetables, we make sure we actually plant with compost. And it's our responsibility to make sure that the food we are selling to people out there is safe. Many times as farmers, you can think you're selling to people out there you don't know. But the truth is you're selling to your brothers, to your sisters, your cousins, your uncles out there. So if you're not going to grow your food in a safe way, the problems that you think you have taken to Nairobi or to the big cities will actually come back to find you. You're the one who's going to pay for the people who are sick out there. So I think something that, is a strong conviction for me as to why I'm doing organic agriculture is that I'm spreading goodness, I'm spreading health, I'm spreading good things to the people out there. People have to have safe food. When you think about our children, the next generation, different ways in which you can be able to control the pests. One of the ways we do is something we call crop rotation. So we don't grow the same thing in the same area. For example, if I grew maybe my skooma in an area where they had a lot of aphids, I can't grow skooma in that area again. I'm going to grow onions. So after you do 1 or 2 seasons of onions and the onions have helped to repel the aphids, then I'm able to grow the skooma back there again. That's a very simple way of getting rid of pests. Something else is that when we have to, which is not always, we normally have to make our own pesticide at home, which is very simple. You just need to mix up some things that make the pests run away. Chili is one example, ginger, garlic, the mwarubaini tree, you can crush the leaves and use the spray to spray out the pests. Different people, there's everywhere, but now I have a good relationship with the University of Nairobi. So there are students there. I work with the professors, so they help me.
How much?
They have a lab. It depends, but I think a full soil test, I think is about 2,000 shillings or something. Yeah, for one sample. But if you do a proper soil test, I can't just take one sample because the farm is big. So we have to take pockets of different places. Okay, because something else I've learned as an organic farmer is that I grow things in season. A long time ago, I used to grow everything all year round and struggle. I realized vegetables have season. So the pricing and the cost is going to be different on what you're able to get. So for example, in this when it was raining and cold, I have a lot of cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, carrot, and all those vegetables that do well in the cool climate. So with those ones, in a week, we can be able to sell more than 20 baskets, So I don't know how to explain in the kilos, but maybe, for example, for like every week, we'll have about 50 to 60 kilos of broccoli. Same for cauliflower. We'll have 20, 30 pieces of cabbages like that, because our target is to be able to have a minimum of 20 baskets. But now when you talk about the short rains in October, in September, October, November, then we are growing a different variety of vegetables. We are growing the tomatoes, we are growing cucumber, the courgettes, the hoho, the red onions. So the things change again, you see. So that's something else now I'm trying to teach people. Eat food in season. If you don't see a tomato in July, you should have stored some tomatoes when there were many, earlier on, you see. In March, February, March, there are normally a lot of tomatoes because they love the sun. So we are also having a very different model. So it's not so much of how much are we getting in a month. It's what produce is available in the season and how do we get it to the customers. In a basket, you'll have about 15 to 20 different types of vegetables, and the basket will only cost about 1,000 shillings, depending. And that food is enough to feed a family of 5 to 7 people for a whole week, 7 days. Trial and error. So whatever works will work.
He's the one that blends.
Yeah.